So welcome, ladies. We're going to be talking about your vibe creates your tribe. I don't know if you've ever thought of yourself as being a vibration that actually draws or repels people, but it's really interesting for you to start thinking about the customers you surround yourself with and ask yourself, what kind of vibe are you putting out in order to create this tribe? We all have a vibration. As a business mentor, I have a vibration. I have a particular style. And I was talking to Rosie today about the difference in my mind between especially a business coach and a business mentor. A lot of people train to be a business coach on a 6-week course and think that's enough regardless of their background. And then they start calling themselves a business coach. And they think this coach situation is all about being able to ask the right questions and to get people to solve their own problems. Well, it's unfortunately in business, if people don't know the answer, no end of questioning is going to help them find that answer. Say, for example, VAT. You can't keep questioning people about do reflective questioning on VAT. Somebody either knows what it is or it doesn't. And so when it comes to, looking at yourself, Bethan, in marketing, I see you as a marketing mentor or marketing trainer as opposed to a coach, because you know the answers, you have the solutions, you can give people the strategies that they might be looking for. So I'd like you to start thinking about this vibe that you're putting out. Do people see you as an expert? And are you underselling yourself? Because when it comes to this vibe, we need to get your vibe vibrating at the right level. And the issue we were talking about today with Rosie was the fact that the way she was marketing, so her vibe was coming across not at the level of expertise that she had. And therefore, the people in her tribe were undervaluing her. So again, when it comes to your vibe, is your vibe actually telling people exactly who you are and at the right level that creates the right tribe around you? Or are you underselling yourself? So I'd like to know from you, what is it with your vibe, and does your vibe create the right tribe for you? So I'm going to come to you, Beck, because you're new to Iron Woman. So it'd be really lovely to know from you firsthand, what kind of vibe are you creating? Because you're starting up this business. So when it comes to your vibe, are you creating the right tribe for you? Or are you recognizing at this stage, perhaps the tribe or the following you're creating isn't quite resonating with where you see your business going?
This is such an important question, and it's something that I've struggled with since setting up the business in January. And I'd say in the last few weeks, I am creating my tribe. The people who I'm working with are the people who I want to be working with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because for the first part of this year, I just kind of worked with anybody and everyone to try and find out the answer to this question: who my ideal client is, who I want to work with. And I feel like I'm just starting to work with the people who I want to work with, but there's a long way to go.
Okay, so coming to you, Bethan, when you were presenting last week at our Iron Woman live event, you were talking to people of how important it was that they understood their customer profile. Can you tell us a little bit more about why it's so important that we almost, we start building our tribe, and how do we do that to make sure that we're targeting the right profile?
Yeah, I think the majority of it always will come down to, if you're talking to a room of people, you need to be tailoring your language to the person in that room that you want to connect with. So to know who your ideal customer is, to understand them, gives you the power to be able to tailor your message, to tailor your um, activity, even what you do and how you do it, to be in line with what your ideal customer is looking for from you. Um, it does take a little bit of human psychology knowledge and kind of stereotyping and generalizing who your ideal customer may be and how they may react. But the more that you work with it, the more in tune you get with that concept.
And how do you start discovering who your ideal customer is? So how do you start this process of identifying the right tribe for you?
Sorry, I have a sneeze brewing. So if I turn my camera off at any point, it's because I'm holding it in. Um, for me, it came really naturally. It came from actually not niching as soon as I should have, because I didn't know what the goal was for me. So when I started working with people, I recognized this is what I want to attract. This is the type of client that I want to work with. If you have a more clear idea that you want to work within a specific niche, it typically will either come down to your previous industries that you've worked in and are comfortable serving, or the other one that I see even more commonly actually is people tend to serve themselves or a previous version of themselves. So a lot of the time, if you think about who your ideal customer is, like Miriam, for example, you always tell that amazing story about your grief journey and how you want your art to spark happiness in people. So you're quite likely creating art for who you were in that time when you needed that little piece of happiness, and that will quite typically be who you're helping. There'll be some differences, but there's usually something that connects you to your ideal customer, and it's usually a moment in your past or maybe who you want to become even, but it just really ties you to your ideal customer.
That's an interesting point, and that's something that Rosie and I were talking about today. It's being who you want to become. Sometimes we are who we've been, as opposed to being really clear about who we want to become and really stretching our being to being what we want to become. And then in that branding, it's really important that we get the branding right, that we just don't keep putting out previous histories of who we were, but we're actually putting the branding out on who we want to become and the kind of people we want to work with. So I'm just going to sort of change the slide here, because I'd like to know who your tribe is, because I'm guessing that the tribe that we're all serving quite similar tribes. So for me, I work with any entrepreneurs, male and female, who want to build business. So though that's the profile of the person I'm working with. My profile does alter, in that you know me, and I am woman just working with women, but I do work with men and women, and I don't work in a voluntary capacity. My time is chargeable. So I know some people get their pricing mixed up. Like today, Rosie and I were talking, and one of her clients got her role confused and was wanting her to work for £15 an hour. So again, it was almost like, what was she being clear as to what her vibe was and her experience was, in order to keep her tribe up to speed with her charges. So again, it'd be quite interesting for us to really understand who is the tribe that we're looking for, because we could be supporting each other more by just being clear about the tribes we're looking for and the tribes we want to develop and work with. So I will work with men and women. I work with entrepreneurs who want to build a business, and I don't work for free, and my normal rate is about 125 for 90 minutes. So that's the kind of tribe profile I'm looking for. I tend to like to see people and work face to face with them. So ideally, I'd like to work within the South Wales region. So that's the kind of tribe I'm putting together. And then within I Am Woman, I'm looking for females who want to build a business, who then will do that via a membership. So I'm very clear who I'm looking for and the tribe I'm building. So Beck, let's come to you. So what is the tribe that you're wanting to build?
Yeah, I feel, as I said, that I'm really getting to grips with who this is, and it's absolutely what Bethan was saying. My ideal client in many ways is me. I work with mostly women, although I do have some male clients as well. Again, ideally, I want to work with people who love the outdoors as much as I do and want to have face-to-face sessions outdoors, and we go out walking and coaching. And I don't charge by the hour. I work with people in packages because coaching with me is a journey. And ideally, I want to be working with clients for a period of around 3 months, depending on the goals and outcomes that they want. I want to be working with people who are really willing to take action to achieve the things that they want to achieve. And I always say, you know, the work that they do in between sessions is more important than the work that happens during the session. And it's people who is sort of redefining success in a way. I want to work with people who are not just after the money and the power and the status and chasing these things. I want to work with people who value their wellness, who want to embrace their authentic selves, and who want to live their life really confidently. So yeah, that's kind of the tribe that I want to be working with.
So we have a similar tribe, yeah? So Beck and I have a similar tribe. And I could possibly come across somebody who I would then think, oh, Beth would be a great person to work with this person. But Beth has already informed me now she doesn't work per hour. She works with products, but I don't know her products yet. So I need to learn Beck's products in order to support Beck to sell to perhaps a new person within her tribe. So how will I know about these products? Will you update? So you know the Academy page, the Facebook Academy page.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put in there what your products are?
Yeah, sure.
So that'd be really good. And so as you're introducing yourself, perhaps you could reflect back on other people. And if you need further information on them in order to help sell them, perhaps we can scoop that all up at the same time. Yeah. So I really understand what Beck does now, but I really need to understand her price points so I can introduce her to other people. Okay, Beck, thank you for sharing. Coming to you now then, Karen. Tell us about the tribe you're building. You're on mute, Karen.
I'm looking to work with people who are happy to work on Zoom because I'm in the middle of nowhere in Ireland. So most of the time it's about an hour's drive to meet me, 2 hours if you're in Dublin, a lot longer if you're in the UK. And I'm not sure how many people would want to fly in here. So Zoom has been brilliant for me. I'm looking to work with people who actually want to publish a book, but also looking to add streams of income to their business. Because for me, it's not just about a book, it's about the business around it. So for example, most books will only make 1 or 2 quid per copy. So if you can leverage the book into something else and use it as a lead magnet, then it will build your business. And so for example, with Cheryl's books, you know, she's got 2 books that are very similar but very different. So, and she's using them in her business. There's the hardcover version, which is superb, and it does what it says on the tin. So for me, it's about thinking in terms of what will your book do for your business, but also what are the other things you could do. So can you do a planner around it? Can you do the journal? Is there a gratitude journal? Is there a workbook? Is there a card deck that you can use with it? Is there an online course, a group program? Is there a membership thing that you could do? What is it you can do to leverage that book so that it actually makes money for you? So I'm looking for people who are looking beyond the book almost to create a business around it.
So we can all now understand what Karen does, but we all have the potential to be Karen's customers as well. So in effect, we're in Karen's tribe because we're helping Karen grow her business, but recognizing Karen can help us build our business. So those people who haven't connected with Karen yet need to connect with Karen. So Karen, how will we know the pricing structure? Can you put that in the academy for us, or if there is some sort of links we can get to understand how we would describe what you do to other people?
Okay, so I have different things in there, but what I will do is create some packages for people so that you can see whether you want to work with me on a 6-month, 12-month basis, or whether you want a lower price option.
Fab. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
So coming to you, Sophia. So we started this whole discussion around vibes and tribes, and previously realizing when you were working in your previous role, you felt you'd reached a stage you were in the wrong tribe, and it was that feeling of feeling in the wrong tribe. You also felt that your vibe was out of sync as well, and now you're in a different tribe, yeah, and you have a different vibe, and it's now looking at how you then build that tribe. So over to you, Sophia. How are you going to build this tribe?
So I think who I'm looking for is very similar to who Beck is looking for, actually, which is great because we're meeting up, I think, next week or the week after, Beck. We're quite drawn to each other. So that's lovely, and I love walking too, so let's walk in nature with a nice cuppa and maybe some cheeky pancakes if we go that way. Anyway, how am I building my tribe? Okay, so with the work that I've done, I do believe that now I can see that we are potentially, like Beth said, our ideal clients at one stage or another. So I would like to attract men or women, but it's generally women in my tribe, who are busy business owners and heart-led entrepreneurs who want to experience more balance, freedom, and joy in their lives through transforming and elevating their spaces, whether that's their home office, or their commercial premises. So people that are going through a transition, an exciting time, or who are elevating themselves with the work that they're doing, their spaces also need to keep up with them. So that seems to be who I'm attracting, which is really exciting, because that's where I am and where I have been. And yeah, I do that by Cheryl renamed me some time ago, and now I am rebranding as a home and business color alchemist. And what I use is interior design, feng shui, and vibrant artworks to enhance spaces. And when we enhance our environments, we also enhance ourselves. I believe as within, so without, as above, so below. Your internal reflects your external environments and vice versa. So my goal is to help people feel their best from the outside in, knowing that each mirrors each other, and just increase the balance and flow.
So I'm going to come back to you, Sophia, because we've
Yeah.
got a lot to cover.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And I'm going to bring you back in on some other points.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Fab. So over to you, Bethan. So tell us about the tribe you want to attract.
Yeah, so I work to attract online business owners, primarily coaches, that are looking to develop their online kind of in revenue streams. So a lot of people who are launching things like courses or ebooks, and they're wanting to start to stop swapping time for money. And lots of these people are women, and specifically that they've had bad experiences in work in the past as well. So the reason why they want more flexibility and less time in their work is because they've usually had a really intense corporate career where they've absolutely worked themselves to the bone, and are now ready to make just as good money but with a little bit more flexibility.
Lovely, nice and precise. Tracking. Thank
It would
you.
be worrying if it wasn't, though, right? if I had a really vague one.
And as you can already sense, we're all a tribe, aren't we? We're all looking for something similar, somebody similar, and we're all similar people, yeah? So you can imagine, you know, we all vibe along quite nicely together. So coming to you then, Lucy, you've got two businesses rolling, and so they are very different tribes that have very different vibes connected with them. So Lucy, can you explain to us who's in these two different tribes?
Well, certainly for Thermomix, and you know, I was listening very much to what Bethan said last week, and you know, when I was a pharmaceutical representative, it was important for us to sort of paint patient pictures, you know, and have a clear understanding of our customer. However, with Thermomix, it really is very big because it's anyone who eats. So it's a huge market, but myself, I focus on family cooking. But on my other hat with Thermomix, obviously I'm a team leader, so I run a team of advisors. So recruitment is a huge area as well. And again, the majority is females who are fed up in their day-to-day job, who are looking for another opportunity, who love cooking and meeting people. So the Thermomix side is yeah, quite big. The menopause side, I'm working on. It's not there. Although I've got a few bookings for September to do some talks. I'm still, as you know, Cheryl, I'm working out a clear vision for that, in which direction I want to go in. So I'm not going to talk about my tribe on that one, but yeah, that's sort of my Thermomix, is really anybody who eats.
Or who loves using kitchen equipment, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, anyone who wants to just eat, you know, food that has got, you know, nothing else, and it's home cooked, and it's yeah. So yeah.
Oh, Steffi's just done a walkabout. So Steffi's back. So Steffi, across to you then. Thank you, Lucy.
No problem.
Over to you then, Steffi. Who is in your tribe?
My tribe is changing and has changed. I got to be honest with you. I have, at the very beginning of my journey, you know, always bartered for people to book, or I felt that I had to discount because they didn't have the money. And my mindset has shifted, and the tribe I'm trying to attract. So my tribe is women who value photography for business, who know how important it is to be photographed professionally.
I want to work with people who are really ambitious to scale, to go higher, to have a really big vision in business. I want to work with women who are striving for being published in a magazine, being an author, or being a speaker, being guest experts where they need publication. And also where before I have had a lot of photographers and a lot of other brand photographers in my tribe. At the beginning, I found that really useful and depending on who it was as well. But now I'm actually leaving my brand photography club because the majority of photographers in there are really scared to charge. They are really low aiming. They don't have a lot of self-belief. Everything is always bad. What if? And, you know, I'm worried. And I've felt that really holds me back from being successful. And I really had to change how I felt around them because I want to get better and better and better and more ambitious and not be surrounded by those who are so scared of doing well. And
so you're in the wrong tribe. You recognized you were in the wrong tribe.
Absolutely, because, you know, I felt like I could not share wins in there because I always made them feel bad because they weren't at the same point. But I work really hard, you know, I didn't want to hold back with my wins. I wanted to celebrate what I achieve. And I really want to work with women who have the same ambition as me, who don't want to stay down there, who want to go up there. And it's still a work in progress, you know, but I'm learning that what I looked at before is very different to what I look at now.
Okay, so I'm going to be touching on this a little bit later, but I still feel Steffi is in the wrong, is not in some of the tribes then that she could be in. So it could relate to a lot of us when it comes to a business collective that perhaps we're not thinking about at the moment. So I'm going to come back to it, Steffi, because it's further on in the presentation, but it's something we could all find ourselves in that we're thinking of a particular market, but there could be other more exciting markets that we just don't see at the moment. So we'll come back to that, Steffi. So coming on to you, Beth. So who's in your tribe?
Finally now have two tribes. I've gone from being happy to work with anybody to actually starting to be a bit more distinguished. The week before last, I finally said to somebody, actually, I don't think I'm the right person for you to work with. And I did refer them to another advisor, which at first I was really proud of. And then I panicked and went, what did I do? Then I calmed down and realized, no, I am at that point now. I can do that. So I've actually got two separate tribes, one that overlaps with most people here. So I do want to work with business owners. I want to help them get the maximum financial benefit out of the work they put into their businesses. So one of the areas I started doing now is helping people prepare their businesses actually for sale, because a lot of people, they think of their business as their retirement plan. So as you get to the end of that journey and you're thinking about selling it, you've got to learn how to separate yourself from the business so that you can sell it on and it's not dependent on you. So I'm doing a lot of work now at helping people in that area, because I really think that you can get a lot more financial benefit from your business than most people realize. The things that you can claim through the business, the ways you can fund your personal financial needs through the business, it is not properly recognized. So that's my first tribe. The second one, I mean, the first one I sort of identify with. The second one is so different from me, but it's a really lovely area to work in. And that's working with older family members who are starting to pass wealth down the generations. So it's working with older people and their children. What's the best way to pass the money down the generations? How should you be helping your grandchildren, your children? Very different to me. We're talking about people 30, 40 years older than me, but it's a really nice area to work with. It's a happy area to work in because it's people who've done really well. We're like, right, how do I give this to my children in a tax efficient way? We don't do any tax avoidance. We do tax mitigation. We do things in a very legal but nice way. And I love doing that. I love meeting with up to 3 generations and finding out what all their goals are and how we can pass things down in the best way for everybody. And it's lovely for that older generation to see how they've worked all their lives and now their kids and their grandkids are benefiting. And it's just really rewarding. So I've actually sort of split down 2 separate paths. They're quite different, but I enjoy both of them.
And Beth, you reminded me that we've all got these multiple tribes as well, because I recognize you're in my tribe that makes my life work. So if I need a mortgage or financial advice, Beth is that tribe member for me. She's that expert that's in my tribe and my first point of call that I would go to if I need any financial advice. So, you know, in a way, Beth, you're in my tribe. I might not use you all the time, but you'll be my first point of call, anything financial. So thank you for sharing, Beth, and coming to you, Miriam. So who is in your tribe? And I believe you're in the same pot as Steffi. So we've got to come back to this point that we need to address. So over to you, Miriam. Who's in your tribe? You're on mute, Miriam.
Oh, I know, I was trying to unvideo me instead of unmute. Well, now that you've just said that, I don't think I want to say anything because it's going to be wrong, Cheryl.
Oh, it's never wrong.
I feel that I'm beginning to have 2 different tribes. My first one is looking for women, quite like myself, but also at a different stage in my life, like kind of more successful, are at a kind of stage where they can perhaps treat themselves to a lovely painting or, you know, hang some happiness on their walls. But the process for me is really, really important. I like to meet with them, preferably in their home, so I can get a feel for who they are, what they like. That to me is really important when I do a commission. I also am slowly starting to kind of move into people, people who are needing, sorry, I'm being interrupted. Also looking for doing some workshops with people to help them unlock their creativity, but not just unlock their creativity. I want to create a really safe space for people to, yes, do art, but it's not about producing an amazing piece of art. It is about the process. So it's helping them through perhaps perhaps a grief, perhaps a different experience that they have gone in.
Okay, so we're going to move on, yeah, because there's some really interesting points I think we really need to flesh out here, and it's the reason why I moved your chair on last Wednesday evening and said, can you go and sit by Beck? Yeah, because again, you know, you're in the same tribe.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we go to a networking event, we want to sit by somebody we'll feel comfortable sitting by, as opposed to sitting by somebody perhaps we don't know yet, but somebody else knows you're in the same tribe. Yeah. So we did that shift last week. So moving on. So this slide, who drives you crazy? And they're usually people who are not part of your tribe. And perhaps they have certain elements of your tribe, but you know, as soon as you meet them, they're going to drive you absolutely crazy. And I had somebody, you've probably met her just once or twice in Iron Woman, and I knew immediately when I met her, she was going to drive me crazy. She came to one live meeting and will never come to another live meeting. And you could immediately see, and Sophia would connect with this, that the energy was out. Yeah, you almost didn't need the words, you could just register the energy, and you would think, this person, I know I can't work with them, they just would drive me crazy. And yes, there was no issue with money, there was no issue with so many things, but energetically this person was off. Yeah. So Sophia, perhaps you can add a little bit more on this. I'm sure you've had people contact you, and because energy is so important in what you do, you know immediately if the energy is off, it's almost like the deal has to be off, because they would drive you crazy and you would drive them crazy. So over to you, Sophia. How does this energy, this vibe, what does it look like when it's off, and where does this craziness come from?
There's a few things that wind me up. There aren't many, but there are a few things that wind me up. I'm working on those things. So how can I keep this in a nutshell? Okay, I'm going to use someone else's example for this. You'll be pleased to hear. So when I spoke to Claire Bell recently, the reason that she agreed, she's a busy woman, the reason that she agreed to chat with me, and we had an amazing conversation, loads of nuggets of wisdom, and have sparked a friendship and a great relationship there, is because when I contacted her and told her my goals and visions out of the blue, and I felt completely aligned, she, from the minute that I contacted her to the minute that we chatted back and made the appointment, everything ran seamlessly. And what she said to me was, if things feel snaggy and snaggly, before you've even spoken, chances are that's how business is going to be. And it's likely that they're not meant for you. But with me and you, she said, everything was seamless. So I knew that it was meant for me. She said, time and energy, and I absolutely agree with this, time and energy, especially time, you don't get back. They're your most valuable assets. So don't waste them. If things are snagging from the outset, then it's likely that they're not meant for you. And another way I look at it is that those that drive me crazy, those that commit and then go off radar, or those that want to, I remember someone haggling with me over a first class postage price for some prints that I already discounted because I wanted the sale and I was brand new a couple of years ago. Because I went back into my people pleasing mode because I wanted to, because I knew she'd love them and I knew she'd benefit from them. But that's not my responsibility. Postage is postage, but she was haggling with me. And in the end, I ended up spending so long and so much of my time unpaid going back and forth with this woman for what? For £22.50 for 2 prints. That was a transformational day for me, because she drove me crazy, pressed all my buttons, and gave me the opportunity to ask myself, why am I pissed? Why am I so ratty? Right, because I have allowed her. It's not that she was wasting my time. I had allowed it, because it all comes back to us every single time, no matter which way you go round. So it was beautiful, because even though it drove me crazy and triggered me like nuts that day, it also helped me make transformational changes in my business about what I will accept and what I won't, energy-wise and time-wise. So that's my take on it.
Lovely. There was also an example that Rosie and I spoke about this afternoon, is that people drive us crazy when they're not informed adequately about what we do, and they've just misread us, and they could misread how much we charge, and they could misread our experience, especially when we call ourselves a coach, because a coach can be somebody who's just been on a course for a couple of weeks, compared with somebody like Rosie, who's an ex-social worker who's worked in domestic abuse for 30 years. She was still calling herself a coach, and the pricing was getting confused, because instead of her being seen as an expert in domestic abuse, she was calling herself a coach. And so the people that were commissioning her through local authorities would have no idea with regards to the depth of her expertise. And also going back to something that I've worked with Sophia on as well, is that people can drive us crazy, and sometimes it's our fault because we're not clear about our terms of business. And we're allowing them to drive us crazy because we haven't been upfront with laying down our laws when it comes to how we do business. And so when we become far more transparent with people and almost say, here are my rules, it's easier for them to work with us. So say, for example, if we are people who have no monitors when it comes to invoicing for work, we can be thinking people are driving us crazy, but we haven't been upfront with what we're going to charge and how we're going to charge it. So can we come back to you, Sophia, because we worked on your terms of business and I know you found it totally frustrating, but it came off the back of something that happened in your business where it drove you crazy. And then once we got the terms of business in place, things flowed again. So can you give us a little bit on that?
So there it is right there, Cheryl, you said it. So I took the lessons. There's always lessons when we're triggered. And the lessons were coupled with you that made me see it clearly at the time, because I couldn't see the wood for the trees, is that I didn't have updated and proper terms in business along with my processes in place. I had some packages on my website for residential homes, not for business. I still haven't, and that's going to need completely updating. That's what I'm doing with you. But massive lessons. And now I have the most beautiful design process. I'm just finishing my complete welcome pack so that invoicing, just everything succinct, everything makes sense. Hourly agreements, package agreements, they're all ready to go. So what was born was the really, really important side, the document side of my business, which, believe it or not, is succinct, it's clear, and it's ready so that when someone does spark an interest, rather than me waffle, because I'm still learning to keep things shorter, you know, that's not my strong point. I've got something that explains exactly and answers any questions for them. So it had to happen, and everything happens for a reason, even the people that you feel are driving you crazy.
Thank you. So, and the other question is, have you got the right team supporting you? So when it comes to you and your business, who are the people around you that make your life work? I mentioned earlier, you know, Beth Beamer is, you know, my finance back point. Dawn Bevan from BPU, she's my accountant. So have you got all your players in place that you need to help you grow? And do they know they're part of your team? Or are you just taking it for granted? You know, the first go-to person for me when it comes to marketing, I would then go to Bethan Wright. Yeah, so Bethan's my person. Anything to do with publishing, I'm there with Karen. Yeah, you know, when I look across the screen, you're nearly all in my team. Yeah, and you know, hopefully I'm in your team. But there might be gaps in your team. So this week I was contacted by somebody who was a will writer, and we don't have a will writer in Iron Woman, and I need some wills. So I really do need a will writer to be part of Iron Woman. Now this will writer knew Beth, so she wanted to have a word with Beth before she joined Iron Woman. So she obviously feels an alignment with Beth. She's part of Beth's team in some way or not, but there's almost linkages there. So I'd like you to start thinking about who should be in your support team, who isn't. Yeah, so you know, going back to Steffi with photography, everyone, you know, within Iron Woman who would need branding photography, again, Steffi would be their first port of call. And then I would say to Steffi, you know, Do you look at the other people who are out here in front of you as this sea of people? You know, are they in your team? And how are they supporting you, if they are supporting you? And are we really working with one another as a really tight team? So I'd like you to think about that. Or, you know, do you need to have more one-to-ones with each other to really get to know what each other does and how that person can support you? Moving on to the next one. So what tribe does your vibe create? So we talked about this vibe that we have. So I'm asking you sort of what tribe does your vibe create? And this is where I wanted in particular to speak to Miriam and speak to Steffi for them to really identify with if they are supplying tribes that could pass them more work. Because I know, Steffi, you work one-to-one with people, and I know, Miriam, you work one-to-one with people. And the wonderful person we've had speak at I Am Woman as we relaunched coming out of COVID was Rachel Bedgood. And Rachel has a very unique way of building business and building business fast. And she does that by taking away the problem. Those people who was at the launch when we were at the Court Coleman. I'm just looking across the screen here. Was anybody there where, yeah, so Steffi, you were there. And if you remember, Steffi, what she said was, she didn't have the resource in order to market to lots of different people, but she wanted to build a business and she wanted to build a business fast. So she took that problem off the table. And so what she did, she found people who had the capacity to generate work for her. And this is where I feel Steffi and Miriam, you can really learn a lesson from Rachel's philosophy when it comes to marketing, because who she sees in her tribe are those people who are at the top of the organizations that have other people and organizations under them. So say, for example, Steffi, you know, the meeting last Wednesday, as far as people trying to get to that meeting from, you know, our keynote speaker was coming from Swindon and Steffi was coming back over from Gloucester. So that was a nightmare. But I wanted Steffi to meet with Sarah Ty, because Sarah Ty works in PR. So Steffi's audience is Sarah's audience. And so if Steffi almost doesn't have to sell her message, because anybody working with people like Sarah, who are at the top of their game, working in PR, would expect somebody to have superb photography. So Steffi, a fast route for Steffi is to be working with people in PR. People who are working with people who are either working in the press, in the media, or anyone that is demanding people have great photography. That's who Steffi should be having in her tribe. Because those people who listen to Sarah, I know we had difficulty because in the end she came in over the telephone. But Sarah, immediately, before she would work with somebody, she'd want a business backgrounder and all the photography brought up to speed. So again, Steffi should be part of a PR company's tribe. So are you part of PR companies' tribes, Steffi?
Starting to go that direction. So I've photographed a journalist and a PR person last week, a couple. They were super happy. They had photos done before, which they didn't even post because they didn't like them, but they were super happy with what they had now. So they're gonna obviously share it amongst their people. They've been in journalism for a long time. I have connected with a few PR people through LinkedIn. I have messaged Sarah Ty through LinkedIn because I obviously didn't meet her, just to start a conversation with her.
So you see, if you almost leapfrog over who you would normally be looking for, because you're looking for one-to-one people, to go to somebody who's running a PR agency, because they will have at least 50 clients who will need their photography updated. If you are their preferred supplier, they're going to be saying to all the people they're working with, this is the person I want you to have your photography delivered by, and you and that person would come to an agreement, and you would be part of their tribe and they would be part of yours. But is that happening sufficiently for you? So on a weekly basis, you're getting work coming through from a PR agency?
Not at the moment, no, because I've only just started venturing out in that direction. So I think, you know, finding those people is still a work in progress,
Right.
but that's the direction I'm heading.
Right. So when it comes then to Miriam, so Miriam alluded just now about to some people, the process is more important than the piece of work. Yeah. And Miriam, I know, is talking about the sheer difference it makes to somebody's life and somebody's processing of grief when it comes to working with Miriam. But is Miriam again in the right tribe to be getting that work via, for example, local authorities, social workers, teachers? So is then Miriam perhaps not working a tribe that could really get her a lot of work? So over to you, Miriam. So is it that you're not getting in with the right tribe that can feed the work through? If you're saying the process of what you do is important, really what you're saying then, the process of working with people in order to process grief, is really powerful.
Yeah, I think that's two things confused, because the process would be them doing a workshop with me.
Okay.
But with a commission, it's equally as important for me to meet them.
Okay, but there's two different audiences.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you building a tribe when it comes to the process?
For commissions,
No,
not enough.
Not commissions,
Not
the
commission.
process. So the process of helping people do process grief or process emotion through doing a workshop with you.
So that is starting on this weekend.
Fab.
And then I've got another one in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, so it'd be really good for you to start thinking about who's your tribe when it comes to you delivering a workshop where is grief processing. Yeah. So it's all of us need to start looking at the tribe our vibe could create. And are we missing out on tribes that could actually pass us through a lot more work because they're almost heading up teams or organizations that could be filtering the work out? So say, for example, back to Steffi, editors of magazines. So is Steffi seeing editors of magazines part of her tribe? Or is she missing that sector that could be passing her a lot of work? So it's looking at these collectives that we really could be tapping into that could feed a lot more work through to us rather than going in one person at a time. Are there collectives we're just missing out on? So Lucy, coming to you when it comes to then, because I know you're looking at the Thermomix, but you're also looking at the women going through the menopause. And I know you're working your way through tribes that are collectives really, and going in to speak to collective people who have access to other people. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Oh, you're on mute, Lucy. Oh, there we are.
Am I off now? Sorry, I for some reason it's gone smaller and I couldn't find the unmute. Can you repeat the question there, please?
Yeah. What I know, you've got these two businesses. You've got the Thermomix business where you go one-to-one with people. But when it comes to this other business, when it comes to women and the menopause, I know the speaking opportunities you have are really to collectives as opposed to one-to-one.
Yeah, I think probably my initial work will be, corporate presentation work. You know, that's why I've already made my connections with some pharmaceutical companies who are sort of involved with HRT. I need to give my, you know, I've been listening carefully about what you've been saying about using, you know, the word mentor or coach, or and I won't sell my services to anyone until I have got a very clear direction in which I'm going with it. As far as the pharmaceutical side and the presenting side, that's absolutely fine, because I know I'm going to have a clear presentation of well-being and so what. But on a one-to-one basis, I haven't yet finalized my thought process around that.
Right, okay, and thank you for being so honest, Lucy.
That's
So
great.
when you look at somebody like Beth, because Beth Beamers comes up on the screen, so this notion of working with a bigger tribe. So Beth, if she went one-to-one with people in a business, it would take her longer. But if, for example, she met with HR, then people in HR have access to lots of people. So again, coming to Beth, I know we're exploring together, looking at getting into corporates quicker, who have access to a lot more people. So can you tell us a little bit about that, Beth?
I've done a bit of it in the past as well. I've actually I went into the company I used to work with in Cardiff. I contacted HR and explained that I completely changed careers since I worked with them. I knew that they didn't offer financial advice to their staff, because I still got friends who work there. And I actually went in and I did 2 sessions, 2 45-minute sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And off the back of that, I think I got 5 meetings out of each and 2 clients out of each. And it was easier than this scattergun approach of approaching individuals. It was sort of, let's get a group of people in a room. And actually, Louise Adams has done me a massive favor. She's recommended me to an organization yesterday, and she's putting me in front of 100 people in March to be the keynote speaker at a conference. And that's 100 coaches and trainers going to this conference. So again, I haven't got to do very much there. I've just got one presentation to do and reach out 100 people at the same time. It's just so much quicker to potentially build a bit of business out of that.
And I know I was speaking to Beck this week about, I know we were speaking, Beck, about working in corporates, and how by contacting one, there might be the opportunity to sell lots of different packages. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've just written a note down to myself, because I think I mentioned earlier on that, you know, I'm really passionate about redefining success to avoid burnout, exhaustion, ill health, all of the things that people are experiencing in the corporate world. And I contacted CGI, who have offices in Bridgend. They're a global organization. And I just got lucky, and the director of health and well-being contacted me back and invited me to do a presentation during Mental Health Awareness Week. And there were 289 people on that call, which was amazing. And I think the note that I've written to myself, because I've kind of not pursued that avenue any further, but I think, you know, there are companies now who are kind of waking up and wanting to really look after their employees, because so many have left the corporate world since lockdown, and they've had a chance to reflect on their lives. So this is an area that I think I really need to focus on.
Lovely. So coming back to you, Miriam, and looking at, you know, the process being so important with regards to mental health. It's then looking at, okay, what are the collectives of people commissioning either workshops or one-to-one work when it comes to using art therapy in order to improve people's lives. So again, it's really looking at those tribes that you want to get into, that perhaps your vibe is just not resonating with at the moment. You're just missing that opportunity to get into the right tribe. Because as soon as I met Beck, I would say within about half an hour back, I said, you know, you're an ideal fit for corporates, an ideal fit for corporates. And it's a really quick way of selling a whole range of packages, because when you go in and either do a conference presentation, or you go in and do an online Zoom to about 100 people, they're going to be all those people you can then service afterwards. So it's getting into a bigger audience rather than trying to do this one at a time thing. And I think to some, you know, in some ways, social media has driven us down this route of, you know, thinking it's only person to person we can do, whereas we can actually do person to organization, or, you know, in LinkedIn, we can go in with people with a finance role or an HR role or an MD role, and perhaps we're selling too far down the pecking order where we could actually go to the top. Yeah, so I'd like you to all start thinking about, you know, these tribes, you know, are you just switched off to really the potential of the audiences you could go into? Yeah, are you doing this taking so long, you know, going in lower than you should be? Is it about, you know, it should be about being who you want to become when it comes to marketing, as opposed to people, you know, seeing you as you were, you know, 2-3 years ago. You know, when I look across the screen, you know, I see, you know, Karen, you're so switched on. I see Bethan, you're so switched on. Sophia, you're so switched on. So it's a matter of thinking, you know, are we really targeting the right customers in order for us to get the volumes of business we need to make our businesses work? You know, can we get these volumes solely relying upon social media posting? You know, is it about us, you know, making real connections, picking up the phone, organizing coffees, or organizing keynote presentations, or organizing to do, you know, a cappuccino session online? Or are we, so when it comes to Miriam, yes, the process of what you do is so important, but perhaps you will need to develop speaking skills or write a book about the process to get yourself in front of people, and the right scaling of people, so you can get the volume of business in at the right price point as well. So I'd like us all to start thinking about, you know, is our target right? Are we putting out the right vibe to attract the right tribe? I'd really like to challenge you on that. Are you doing that? And we've had a lovely illustration this evening from Beck showing, you know, just how she created that opportunity to get into a company, and that company has 260 odd employees that could have the potential, each one of those has the potential to perhaps work on different packages with Beck. But again, are you thinking in that way where you can see a bigger collective for what it is that you do? And so I'd like to know how you're going to put this into action then. We've got 10 minutes. I'd like to know how this vibe and tribe idea is going to shift your thinking to start creating the right vibe to get you into the right tribe. What is it that you've got to do to either market yourself as having the right vibe? Who do you need to align with to make it seem like as though you've got the right vibe to deliver to that tribe? You know, when I was meeting with Beck, and Beck said, oh, well, what if they ask for, you know, a big project to do with vision and values and all this kind of stuff? I said, don't worry, Beck, I'll collaborate with you. I've done this. I've restructured the BBC, G's, Ford. I've done all this kind of stuff in my past. I've got loads of training programs. Yeah, I've got the experience to do this. And I said, let's do it together for the first time, and you'll get experience of doing this, and then you can move forward, and, you know, you'll have the experience of doing work at that level. So again, you know, it's being who you want to become, and perhaps collaboration will bring in the right vibe to get you in with the right tribe. But I'd love to know what it is that you're planning on now doing to either improve your vibe or improve your tribe. So we'll come to you first, Beck, because you're the first one up on my screen. So what are you going to do to either up your vibe or up your tribe, or will you up your vibe to up your tribe?
What's coming to mind is that if I really am going to make the decision to market myself to corporates, then I need a much slicker marketing package, pictures, all of that kind of stuff, because, you know, my pictures at the moment, I got a friend to take some shots of me, and they are really great, but there's not enough of them, and they just don't look kind of corporate enough. The stuff that I'm putting out at the moment is fine for my one-to-one clients, but I don't really think that it measures up for corporates. So that's really the thing that's coming to my mind. And then I guess the other question is how, because I think I got really lucky with CGI, and I have sent out emails to other companies and I haven't heard anything back. So yeah, it's how do I connect with these people?
All right. And they say luck happens when preparation meets with opportunity. Yeah, you created the opportunity by contacting them, and luck happens. So say yes and learn fast. Lovely. Thank you, Beck. Miriam, over to you. How are you going to improve your vibe or improve your tribe?
I haven't got a clue.
Okay.
Sorry, I feel now quite overwhelmed by this evening because I'm slowly kind of ticking. Well, I don't know. I feel really lost now.
Oh, we'll have a coffee. We'll have a coffee and start looking up the more tribes you can get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you think about the amazing work that you do as part of this process of healing, let me just give you one tribe you can get into. And those are teachers. That they have teacher inset days. Yeah. And teacher inset days, trainers can get paid anything up to £1,200 a day for imparting skills to teachers on their teacher inset days. And all teachers have inset days. They have 4 a year. They would love to learn how to work with, especially infant school children, of how to work with children going through grief using the process of art. That's a tribe for you.
I can vouch for that. Sorry, Miriam, because I used to be a Thrive practitioner for children who went through trauma and grief. And the most things we used, everything that we worked with was art-based.
There you go. That's a tribe of people you're currently not doing business with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's because I feel I haven't got a qualification. I've got life experience.
That's more important than qualification.
No, I know, I know that, but I feel it. I find it very hard to then go and say, "This is what I could do."
Why? You've done it. It's imposter syndrome. Put the imposter syndrome to bed and crack on. You know, you have a unique experience of working using a process of art therapy with people. And the more you do it, the more confidence you get.
Yeah.
I can remember, you know, I told Beck, you know, I was commissioned. I didn't feel I was that bright in school. I went to university, you know, years after I left school. So when somebody commissioned me to then deliver a workshop on change for all the school inspectors, I totally freaked. I was in a room of 75 school inspectors teaching them organizational change. So I was thinking, how am I going to cope with this? These are all, when I thought back of all the teachers, you know, who I wound up and I played hell in the lessons to, all this goes through your head. I remembered my Welsh teacher who came in a red jumper and check trousers, and I called him Rupert the Bear, and I was never allowed in the class for doing Welsh again, because whenever I saw him I kept laughing, and he kept saying to me, "Why are you laughing?" And I kept saying, "Because you remind me of Rupert the Bear." You know, all these things were going through my head. But when I stood up and spoke about organizational change to the school inspectors, I thought in my head they were all naughty boys, naked and sitting on a potty. Yeah, we use all sorts of things to manage, you know, those first sessions we're delivering in order to get our confidence. I wasn't going to allow imposter syndrome to step in. I just imagined them naked, sat on potties, and I rocked it. Yeah, and I went on and did other things like that. And yeah, the first couple of times we do things, we're going to get all these voices coming to our head saying we're not good enough, we haven't got this qualification or that qualification. You just have to work your way through it, Miriam. Yeah, you can do this. We have faith in you, Miriam. We are trying, and we're going to kick you out there and get on with it. I can remember Margaret Carter when she was out selling pate and she had to go into lots of shops to sell her pate. Jenny had to physically boot her out of the car and lock the door so she couldn't get back in. So she would go into the shop to sell the pate. Yeah, people do all sorts of things to one another. We all suffer from this imposter syndrome. Get over it. Get out there and rock, girl. You know you can do it.
Well, I'll let you know how the weekend goes.
Oh, well, we'll have a one-to-one and we'll put together, you know, who you try, who should be involved in your tribe, yeah, and who you should be attracting in this type to get the volume of working. So we're going to come to Lucy. Lucy is talking. She's having a chat to somebody. Lucy, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. It's because
okay.
I've made it smaller. I can't, and I've got a room full of people now wanting to listen to what I'm going to say about my vibrant tribe.
Come on then.
So I just enjoy hearing what other people have got to say. For me, the biggest thing is just believing in yourself, as you said. If you believe in yourself and you are that sort of person, then you will just attract like-minded people. So yeah, and for one of the things that did just come up in my mind, I'm just going to is it Beth, is to say, you know, when we were talking about the corporate stuff about getting your photos and feeling that your package isn't looking right, I know that's in an ideal scenario, you want everything to look right. But the corporation work that I've happened to picked up, I haven't even done anything yet. You know, you know what you do, you know what you sell, you're perfect as you are without a photo, you know, so don't be frightened to go and just get whatever work you are as you are. Those nice sort of photos are just the cherry on the top.
Yeah, and a lovely thing you said at the meeting, Lucy, was the book that I did with Karen and you had a copy of when you were away at your seminars. Normally you would sell 3 machines in a month. You put in your goals.
Yeah.
I want to sell 10. And
yeah.
you sold 10. So
and
again,
I absolutely
this,
did.
You know,
and that was even, you know, on the Friday, it was about 3 o'clock and I had sold 8. And I thought, it's a highly unlikely I'm going to get, you know, another 2. But I thought, no, I did write it down. So I kept on looking around, you know, I'm going to do this. And yeah, amazing, really. And it was, you know, it was one of the highest of the shows. So it was, yeah. I'm going to write down lots of things from now on.
So again, your vibe creates your manifesting as well. So be careful what your vibe is carrying.
100%.
So if your vibe is carrying, I can't, you won't. And if your vibe is carrying, I can and I will, you will. Yeah. You wrote down 10, you got your 10. Tick in the box. Well done. Yeah. Thank you, Lucy. Coming to you, Karen. What are you going to do about your vibe and your tribe?
Well, I'm going to be following on from Steffi, and I'm going to sort of join the PSA, Professional Speaking Association. It's been on my to-do list for ages, but I moved everything over to a Saturday. But that's when they meet in Ireland. So I've moved everybody back off to their normal day, and we'll make space for that. I've introduced Steffi to somebody on LinkedIn already, so hopefully that will help her. I'm just connecting with more coaches, mindfulness professionals, and I've got a person who Steffi did some work with, Pam Case, going to be doing her package on LinkedIn, because she did a one-to-one with me yesterday and basically showed me the error of my ways when it comes to LinkedIn. It's just like, holy crap, I didn't realize all this stuff. And yeah, she might be one to connect with you, Cheryl, because I think you'd be getting her to volunteer a quick thing on do your LinkedIn profile. And oh dear, she taught me so much in such a short time. It's just like, 8 weeks of her, what can I learn? So I just gone for it. And yeah, so hopefully I'm in the right space, getting into the right frame of mind, and everything else in the background will sort itself out in due course.
Fantastic. Thank you, Karen. And coming to you then, Sophia, your vibe and your tribe, what might you do differently?
Nothing. I'm just going to carry on. I've really enjoyed the session though. It's been really, really lovely. And catching up with you all. Just going to carry on being authentic. Yeah, just working on myself, having inspiring conversations and meetups with people I'm drawn to, who are drawn to me, and carry on there. I'm really enjoying the break from social media. Don't feel like I need to apologize, which is really, really nice. Shows that I'm completely over the people pleaser in me, because I do as I please, not for anyone else. And hopefully that calls in other authentic people who are also elevating and yeah, enjoying the ride. So that's me.
Thank you, Sophia. And coming to you, Beth and Wright. So tell us about your vibe and your tribe reflections.
So for me, the only real takeaway, because I feel like I've done a lot of work on this over the years, is that concept of like, is there anyone I can partner with? I find it quite tough. I've tried in the past to reach out to people like the ICF and coaching companies that offer courses and accreditations, and I've always been hit with a hurdle in the road. They're never really willing to kind of liaise. I've offered free workshops. I've tried offering a few different things. So that's the one thing that I'm a little bit stuck on, is who would be the sort of organizations I could partner with. Because corporates wouldn't be the right fit for self-employed coaches, and those coaching accreditations and coaching courses companies are the only things that really come to mind. So if anyone has any ideas, if they're listening to this thinking, oh, I know of some good scenarios here, please do keep me in the loop.
Have you contacted business support organizations who subcontract out to people like yourself to go in and run workshops?
Yeah, but for my niche, they don't really exist. There's no business support companies for coaches specifically. There's Business Wales that for any businesses, but for who I'm trying to reach and sticking with my tribe, there isn't really any business support agencies for them.
Okay, wouldn't you broaden that niche to work with other people in different sectors?
I don't really recommend broadening your niche, because it gets harder to be seen in the mist sort of thing. What I have thought about doing is maybe sometime in the future working with like local councils to offer online courses and things like that as business support. Right. But for our agency, it wouldn't be reasonable for us. No, we wouldn't really be able to expand our niche.
What about the PSA, like Karen was talking about, Professional Speakers Association? Would they be part of your tribe? Because they have quite a lot of coaches part of them. Yeah,
potentially. I should go and check them out.
Right, lovely. All right, who else have we got checking in with? Beth Beamer. So your vibe and your tribe reflections.
Well, I'm in a much better place for this now than I was even 6 months ago, I think. Or you have made me identify. There are 2 holes that have appeared in my tribe. So if anybody can recommend somebody to fill them, I was working with a really good solicitor and a really good accountant. One is retired and the other one's gone off on maternity leave. And I don't know if she's going to be coming back to work. So what I really need, if anybody knows a good solicitor, they don't have to be in South Wales, they can be anywhere, and a good accountant that I can refer my clients on to, I'd be really grateful if you could recommend anybody.
Lovely. Thank you, Beth. And Steffi. So Steffi, your vibe and your tribe reflections.
I think I'm on the right journey of connecting with the people that can connect me to my audience better. So I've been having a lot of one-to-ones lately through LinkedIn. I've reached out to a lot of people, I've connected with them. And so, yeah, I'm going to continue doing that. And I think the reaching out and having a one-to-one and actual conversation really helps. So I've been engaging a lot on their posts. And I've even got a global leader, and I don't know what she sees in that. I really don't know. I connected with her on LinkedIn. She's got over 60,000 people, all lots and lots of them the kind of client I want to work with. And she keeps tagging me in every post that she posts. I'm not sure why she does that, but it's good for me because I get seen by a lot of people now. So I still try and figure out what the reason is behind that, you know?
Wonderful, wonderful. And I love your post, Steffi. I'm forever sort of seeing Steffi pop up and keeping tracks on Steffi. But it's remembering we're all part of that, you know, we're all part of the same tribe. So again, from a social media perspective, you know, can we share each other's posts? Can we comment on them? Can we add another vibe to it? You know, whatever we can do to help one another. So Steffi, I know you were interested in delivering a LinkedIn masterclass to us. So is that something we could do next week?
There is no, we can't, because I'm in London photographing a conference.
Okay, the
For
following
3
week.
days. Bear with, I know my diary is chock-a-block. Bear with, bear with.
Are there any topics that other people might want us to cover during our Wednesday nights? Any subject that people want to explore or eager to look at? Beck raised her hand. Beck, where's Beck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is something that people would want, but I'd be more than happy to do a session on limiting beliefs in business.
Yeah.
And how we can work on removing them, like my belief that I need to have amazing pictures to approach coaching. So yeah, I just wanted to offer that.
Sounds great. And Bethan, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I would like to volunteer Beth Beamer. I think it would be really great to have some more education around what those routes to getting some money out of your company in the most efficient way would be possible.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about money mindset, but I think that would be a nice different take on finances.
That's fantastic. So who would like to go next? So there's next week and the week after. So who would like to go first?
I don't mind doing next week if you want me to do next week.
Okay, so Beth will do next week. Beck and Steffi, because when are you free, Steffi?
I think my next 2 weeks are chock-a-block because I've been booked to photograph and I won't be here. I won't be physically available because I will finish in like 5 o'clock and then won't be getting back on time. So Beck, if you want to go and start off first.
There we are. So there's going to be Beth, Beck, and then Steffi. Yeah, is that okay with everyone? Fabulous. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming out to play and exploring all things vibe and tribes. I hope it's got you thinking about the kind of vibe that you have and the kind of tribe you attract. And then perhaps even looking at the kind of tribes you might want to get into that could offer you more work or greater value work or just different work, and then start thinking about the kind of vibe you need to become in order to become attractive to those different tribes you want to work with. So enjoy the rest of the evening and the rest of the week. I hope to catch up with some of you in the interim, and look forward to seeing you next week when Beth Beamer will be delivering a workshop to us on making best use of your finances, your personal finances when running your business. So thank you for that, Beth. And perhaps you can send me an updated photo as well so that I can put it out on the marketing media. So have a lovely week, everyone, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Good night. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.